get up with 25x squared plus 40x minus 9. Now this is one case where it does begin and end with a perfect square. Okay, and so there might be the first look I would say would be to try 5x and then 3 and negative 3 or something on those lines. But that case doesn't work. It's not guaranteed to always be a perfect square trinomial if it begins and ends with a perfect square. That's your first option, and it's what you want to look at, but it doesn't guarantee that it will work. So most of you were fine on that as you work through here. 118 was kind of one of the special ones that we went over over the video. Is that like if you try and do grouping the way it's organized, it won't work. You got to rearrange, and you got to recognize that this here will factor into the quantity x plus 3 squared. Okay, and then now it's a difference of squares. X plus 3 minus 6a, x plus 3 plus 6a. Okay, for that one. And then in 124, factor out a GCF, and then that factors again into 2x plus y times 2x plus y. All right, off of that homework, does anybody have any additional ones that maybe they want me to cover or weren't sure about? Those are the only 5 I graded. Okay, but if you take a look at those or any of the others. Okay, let's see, on the homework wise, let's see. All right, 5, 6, 15 to 85, every other, ended up at 83. Okay, quiz Wednesday. Okay, we've already talked about that. No, not Wednesday. Lie. Tuesday. Now, this is not a full period quiz. And what you'll do is people are going to get done at different times. We're going to start section 1-1. But just so you can get a head start, so you start early, I will put a video up. You'll bring your earbuds so you can do that. It's just solving equations. Okay, solving equations is something that you've done a ton, but I still feel comfortable hitting it so that you see it again. Now, we do solve like rearrange formulas and do some other things where I do see some mistakes that's really important to hit. So if you've got earbuds, bring those, because when you're done, you can start the next assignment. Let's see what else. Okay, also for quizzes and tests, a good thing is to check your work. One thing I will tell you is that you probably need to finish the quiz or you need to finish the test, then go back and check. Here's the issue. These tests usually take the majority of the period, if not all the period. You cannot do problem 1, then spend time checking it. Problem 2, spend time checking it. What you need to do is finish, then go back. Now, this one isn't as long, so you probably could get away with that, okay, within the time frame. But some of the others, absolutely not. So that's your responsibility. Don't get stuck on a problem. Also, if you get stuck on a problem, don't spend 15 minutes just staring at it trying to figure it out. You've got to move on to the next one, come back. Okay, you might have to sacrifice one to do 5 or 6 others, as opposed to spending time on one. You get it, and you don't get to those. We don't give extra time. Okay, there's a lot of time, and then you got to get done in that time frame. Okay, and turn that in. That means you have to be prepared. Okay, that means you have to review, you have to study, and everybody's on a different level. Some kids, still maybe they don't study and they can still get done, but maybe you're not that kid, and you've got to review in order to get done in time. So you got to know yourself. All right, 5 and 6. What do you got down for 5? Casey, what do you got down for 5? On the homework here, we're going to go over just a couple of them.
Oh. Yeah, that was on the other page. 5, I had false.
5, you had false. That is correct. It is false. All right, 6. Austin, what do you got for 6?
Yeah, false.
It is false because you can make that x to the 4th. All right, I asked you to look at 7 and 8. All right, that's a look at 7. True or false for that one? Okay, the quantity a, b to the n is a to the n, b to the n. All right, what do you say, Ty Miller?
True.
True, that is correct. All right, 8. What do you say for that one? True or false for that one? Sam?
False.
Okay, it is false. Okay, that is probably one where I see a few people miss. And then the question is why? Here it is. It's a plus b to the n and they say, does it equal a to the n plus b to the n? Okay. False. Not true. A lot of people want to think that's true. Why not? Why not? Can you explain? Say it.
Because like if it was like a plus b,
Hold on. Being stubborn. Hello, Mr. D-Lap. Yes. He is not. Okay. All right, Sam, what you got?
Because you'd have to like write it out and then FOIL however many times to.
Good. This means a plus b times a plus b. Let's say this is a 2. So a plus b quantity squared. Does that equal a squared plus b squared? Okay. And that means a plus b times a plus b. And if you FOIL it, you get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, which is not equal to a squared plus b squared. So watch that one right there. Okay, it's real common to just say, oh yeah, it's a squared plus b squared. All right, other questions on any of those others? 15 through 83. I asked you to check them. That's your responsibility. Okay, you should never say, is this one right? You've already checked them. You know whether they're right or wrong. Okay, questions? All right, we always need at least one person willing to ask questions. That always helps, as opposed to. All right, good. I'll take that as good. I did get an email from one person that said they got a letter from Stark State. So I don't know if those are starting to trickle out. A couple things, however. One key thing is this date, September 12th, which since we started early, kind of gives us a little bit of time. Student must withdraw prior to the 15th calendar day to avoid financial penalty from their school district. Okay, so if you're in this class, you're in the CCP, and things like maybe you don't think they're going well, you think it might be a little bit too much, you got till you want to change as soon as possible, but to avoid financial penalty, okay, you got to do it by the 12th. Okay, for that. And as you go to college and different things, you'll learn a lot more about that. Like you just go and things aren't going well, you get sick and you get behind in your classes. If you don't go and withdraw, or if you don't, address the situation, you're going to end up with, F's on a report card and you're not sure why. Okay, so you really have to take care of the details. But that's kind of the key one there. And if you do have any questions, see me before you really make a decision, because I'm technically your counselor. All right, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to review. I'm going to give you, we're going to do some problems in class, but let's start with these two here. I would say these are two on the tougher end of the spectrum for factoring. On the left and then on the right, you got exponents. So see what you come up with. For these two. will tell you the first one does have a GCF, and then it does, that trinomial does factor again. Okay, we'll let you know that. Okay, if you are stuck on the first one, move to the second one. Okay, if you have not, unless you're right there. Okay, but if you have not finished it, go to the second one. While you're finishing it out, I'm just going to hand you what we're going to do during class.
Because it's not a binomial, it's not like x plus y. It's just the same term, just like 1 by 2 times that, and then x plus 6 times that. So not a fourth. Not a fourth.
All right, let's take a look at what you got. Let me give you the answers. If I can figure out what I did with them, where did I put them? Oh, they're right over here. So, all right, first one. If you got 4x squared times 3x minus 2y, and then x plus 4y, you got it right. Second one is going to be x to the 6 over 4 y to the 7th. Final answer. Okay. Now, like I said, these two are a little bit on the harder side for both of those, but she know how to do them. All right, let's go through here. GCF, you go through, which didn't seem to be an issue. What goes into all of those? 4, and they all have an x squared. And now 3, that gives me 3x squared plus 10 xy minus, what is that, 8y squared. Well, I want to give you another one where we have like 2 variables. This tends to be an issue at times. So we got an x squared, we got a y squared. This is no different than 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. That's the exact same thing, except we're going to have a y in both the binomials. So just if you can solve that, then you can solve that. So I think the y squared just kind of throws people off at times. Well, I'm going to solve this. That's 3x and x. Those are my only options. I'll do guess and check and grouping. Well, this has to multiply to negative 8. So it has to be either 1 and 8 or 2 and 4, right? 1 and 8. Well, let me do something wrong here. What if I do minus 2? Whoops. Nope. Nope. Let me do minus 4 plus 2. All right. Well, how do I know it's wrong? Well, that gives me the outer and the inner have to add up to 10. Well, that gives me 3 times 2, which is 6, plus negative 4, which is positive 2. It doesn't work out. So I rearrange, and I get 3x minus 2 and x plus 4, and that gives me plus 12 x, and that gives me minus 2x. Well, all I need to do now is make that, put a y here and put a y there. That's it, to satisfy the original. Okay, because now when you multiply, that gives you 12xy, and it gives me minus 2xy, and then negative 2y times 4y gives me 8y squared. So I get 4x squared, okay, right there. Like I would just drop that y and ignore it and then put it back in. Now you got to watch. You also got to put that 4x squared on some of your homeworks. You dropped it and you didn't write it in your final answer. So on the quiz, I want to have to ding you a little bit if you don't. You got to understand that that is part of the answer, even if it is a careless mistake. All right, now grouping method. So some of you are going to say, I'm just going to say 3x squared plus 10xy minus 8y squared. Well, I'm just going to ignore the y for now and just make it 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. And then, all right, you do 3 times negative 8, right? Which is negative 24. What are two numbers that multiply to negative 24 and add to get 10? It's going to be negative or positive 12 and negative 2. So 3x squared. And I like to put the negative first if I got a negative. Now, sometimes people use that as their answer. You'll see it as 3. Sometimes they'll just write x minus 2 and x plus 12. You got to remember that that's just how you get to the answer. And now I pull out an x. I get 3x minus 2 plus 4, 3x minus 2, which gives me 3x minus 2. And I'm going to put in a y there. And x plus 4y, I'm going to put a y in there. And then don't forget, what was the original in front? 4x squared. I don't care which way you do it. Guess and check, grouping, doesn't matter. Just make sure you get it right. All right, so that, and then you could FOIL it back to see if it gets the original one, but that would be a little bit consuming for this one. All right, how about this one here? I would move this down below. Okay, first because it's negative 2, people just screw 4 to the negative 2 up all the time because that's going to be 1/16. It is not negative 16. So I'm going to have 12x squared, y to the negative 4th over 3x to the 6th, y to the negative 3rd. And that becomes a 4x to the negative 5th, y cubed to the positive 2 power. Now, if you got the answer and you did it a different way, don't even worry about it. You're good. Now, from here, I get 12x squared, y to the negative 4th. I'm going to take care of that. And then that's going to be not 4, but 16. 16, x to the negative 10th, and then 2 times 3 is y to the 6th. Now this bottom, and I honestly see this a lot, and I'm not picking on you, Ty, but a lot of people want to FOIL it because you see like 2 things and 2 things. Well, to FOIL something, it would have to be like x to the 6 plus y to the negative third. Like it'd have to be a binomial. You'd have to have a plus or minus between there. This is just a single term on the outside times another single term. Just multiply straight across. 3 times 16 is 48. Next, x to the 6 times x to the negative 10th is x to the negative 4th. Negative 3 plus 6 is y cubed. And then I got 12x squared, y to the negative 4th. So now I just got to be careful of, moving everything. 12 over 48 reduces to 1/4. Okay, you got to reduce that. And then x squared, 2 minus negative 4 is a 6. Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. But to make sure we're correct, you got to move it down below and make it y to the 7th down there. Okay? For that one. So you got to watch. A lot of little areas that make mistakes. Just kind of, keep moving ahead, making sure you're double checking careless mistakes as you go. All right. The book gave you some good. I didn't think they gave you as many problems as you need in terms of difficulty for exponents. So I wanted to go over a few others. So go ahead and let's see here. I don't want to do that one. Let's start on the one that has the exponents. Okay. Let's start on the one that has the exponents. Let's, just for time's sake, go through 1 through 6. Okay. 1 through 6. Now, number 4. Okay. On number 4, it's hard to tell, but that is an f to the negative first. Okay. It kind of the negative blends in with the f. And then that is 2ef to the negative 4th. All right, do 1 through 6. And here's what I'm going to ask you to work with whoever's at your table in terms of, hey, what'd you get for number 1? Kind of communicate a little bit. You can turn around if you want. And just kind of help each other out. And if you didn't get the same thing, let's see if one of you can figure out, who's right, who's wrong. Did anybody happen to get a brown paper bag for a book cover? Anybody got that yet? All right, we got one. Sorry. All right, put that on the to-do list. Let's try and have those by hopefully Thursday. All right, so yeah, just go straight down and do 1 through 6. And then if you get done with those, and you still got a little bit of time, hop over to the very last one, number 11. Let's see what you get for that one. Oops.
Alright, now, that can't be a final answer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Alright, somebody want to show what he did. For that one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. That's not right. That's not right. You gotta live with that lie.
See,
You gotta live with that.
yeah, it is one, but like,
Negative 3 times 0 anyway.
No,
Zero. So I'm just 1.
so that's 0. So yeah, that would just be 1. So don't even raise right there. 1 Dude, my brain is just working.
Yeah,
It's just that. That's why it's what you can.
Yeah. I like that.
So then wouldn't the answer be that?
Like, I don't know why I do it. Like,
The negative's just a positive.
Look, I'm glad that you guys are talking. Learn to compare answers. Learn to help each other. That's a skill. It's a skill that you will need as you move further along. As you get to harder and harder classes, when you get to college, you're going to have to work in study groups. You're going to have to work with other people. If you don't, it will be extremely, extremely difficult on you. Share the load.
Take your own judge.
And that means maybe talking to somebody you haven't talked to before.
I know it's
This is still a negative.
I think. I don't know. It's just yeah, these are the negatives always confusing, like which one was going. We're talking about them, I don't, it's always on 4. So you subtract, so -7. That should probably go on the bottom, then do it on top. E2, don't really the 1, but
No, yeah, you do.
but it doesn't.
Look right here. This is
Well, yeah, but even the 1, even a 1 in front of a variable doesn't.
yeah, I guess you don't need it.
Timothy, yes.
It's more for my brain than yours.
Oh my god, you're a little booger.
What'd you do?
Oh, wait a
I guess we could just figure that. I don't know. Oh yeah, you could still do it.
Yeah, I don't even know that,
I
like,
guess that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
5 to the negative.
And
So I
that's
plugged it in here, it was.
Yeah.
It's half. So
So
I'm
then
talking
I
about,
think it was
just-
one.
I think that.
And if that's moved close to
You know, I'm gonna move them to the bottom just so I don't have to deal with it. think.
Well,
We almost have to boost up for
I was doing
sure.
something.
I got A.
Zero. Square that.
That.
Oh, wait.
I still will say one more time.
Try that.
To the negative.
Try that.
Put that on the
If
bottom.
you get through 1 through 6, you hop over to 11.
There's the one even
Yeah,
in
then you just multiply
the
that.
fifth is just to the A. Oh,
So
it's not to the
so you
sixth.
just
I
multiply.
mean, if it was on the outside,
I
you
got
put it all down to the bottom. I just did the A on the bottom because the negative fifth is the A and not the sixth. So I don't know. How would you do? Would you just? How would you do the simplify the bottom?
All right, so we get enough time here. I'm going to give you the answers and we'll go over what we need to go over. Okay? So for 1, it should be negative 38. Okay, look at what you got. For 1, it should be negative 38. For 2, it's 4 over c squared. Okay, 4 over c squared. For 3, negative x cubed y squared. It is negative. Okay, and make sure if a answer is negative, you're clear identifying it. Okay, don't just like smudge a little negative next to it. Okay, make sure it's clear. Okay, now since that's f to the negative 1, you get e squared over 2 f to the 7. Okay, e squared over 2 f to the 7. 5 is a squared over 125 b to the 6. Okay, and now 6 is just ab. Okay, when we're all done. Hammer.
Wouldn't the negatives for number 3 cancel out?
No, and I'll explain why in a second. All right, so you guys got those answers down at least? All right, let me go back to what number 3. All right, here's what's going on with number 3. All right, that's squared. What happens when you square a negative? So that's going to be a positive. So that's no different than the negative 2 squared. It's going to become positive 4. So that is going to become x to the 6, y to the 2nd. This is going to become negative x. Y to the 0 is what? 1. I don't even need to write it anymore. But that becomes a positive 3. So a negative number to an even power becomes positive, but a negative number to an odd power will stay negative. So that gives me x to the 6 y squared over negative x cubed. The whole thing will be negative, and then that's where I get the x cubed y squared. Okay? And some of you might have multiplied by negative 3, I don't know. But you got to watch it. Since that negative's inside the parentheses and you're squaring it, that whole piece becomes positive. Okay, that whole piece becomes positive. All right, what else? Man. Number 2. All right. Hate them. Everybody hates them. 2 to the negative first. They don't hate them. You just don't know how to do them. It's not negative 2. What is anything to a negative power? Like, if you got x to the negative 2, every one of you will tell me, oh, that's 1 over x squared. No problem, right? But what about 2 to the negative 1? That's 1 over 2. Okay, that's got to go down below. So really, I can write this as, if I do this, I'm going to make this c, and I'm just doing this first piece. The c will stay, and that will become 2d to the 4th in the bottom, and then 8d to the 4th over c cubed. That's the way I'd handle that one. So really, I got 8 c over c cubed gives me c squared. I got that 2 d to the 4th over d to the 4th cancels. 8 divided by 2 is where I get the 4. 4 over c squared. Okay, for that one. All right, what I got for you here is, now don't worry about 11 because 11 has exponents. Like you won't see one like that on the quiz. Okay, for that. And now this is just, the rest is just practice for you. If you want to practice them, on the notes, on the back is just trinomials. All it is just trinomials are just something you got to know how to do. It's always good to become better at those. So that's just practice. The answers will be on here, okay, on the notes, which I'll post sometime during the day if you want to double check those. So now tomorrow, there's no formal homework. I'm not going to check that. Quiz tomorrow. Bring your laptops and earbuds. You'll watch section 1-1. Now you will need to know, the only thing I think would consider be memorization is you do need to know the formulas for a cubed plus b cubed and a cubed minus b cubed. It's not like you're going to see 10 of those problems. You might see 1 or 2. Okay? But you do need to know those. So a cubed plus b cubed is a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And that is a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay, for that. Answers will be on Canvas under the, go to the lesson. We'll pull that up. And you should be good.